Tonight on GamePlan. 1 week down, one more to go before the Saints preseason opener.
We need to then put them in those positions where they can have that growth.
We're shining a light on the secondary's impressive showing now that everyone is healthy.
I feel really good where I'm at, and then now it's just a building process.
Plus, rookies Sheldon Rankins, Michael Thomas, and Von Bell appear ready to make an impact immediately.
They show the world what they missed out on.
All that, plus in-depth analysis from beat writer Mike Triplett and the highlights of the humor.
All right, I'll ask the questions.
From White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, this is GamePlan Training Camp.
Welcome to GamePlan and happy game week. I'm Chris Hagan. Football returns with the Packers and Colts meeting in Sunday's Hall of Fame game, while 1 week from now, the Saints go head-to-head with the Patriots. But so far, the focus still remains on practice and building this roster mixed with young players and veterans into a team that can hit the ground running. It's a task that's easier said than done, but most of the talk, especially around the defense, has been a positive step in the right direction.
One of the things we wanted to do is try to create some of those game-like situations, and rather than just one live scrimmage on Saturday, you'll see pretty much, not every practice, but you're going to see some live football. Part of the game is that competitive, and when you're on the field third down, it's just trying to win the snap, win the down.
There's no position group on the team that represents the Saints' mix of young and old like the secondary. And from rookie Von Bell to 33-year-old Roman Harper, they're making improvements across the board, even if it's simply just being available. Juan Kincaid has the story from West Virginia.
Don't blink, because for the first time all training camp long, every member of the Saints secondary is healthy. The last to come back from injury was Keenan Lewis on Wednesday. And now this team's back seven can start to take shape. What we've seen from them thus far has been positive. The guys that have been in there in Lewis's place, mostly young guys, have shown that they can handle all that's being thrown at them right now.
There's a handful of young corners that are all competing, and a handful of them are going to make this roster if you just look at the numbers.
And by young guys, Peyton means players that were either drafted a year ago or guys that were signed this year. Second-year players like Damian Swann and P.J. Williams, or rookies like Ken Crawley and Jimmy Pruitt. For a team that's struggled for years to field a secondary-heavy team, Dennis Allen's got a pretty full cupboard right now.
I like the way they're competing. I think there's a handful of them, that are picking up the scheme. That's half the battle, of knowing what to do, and they're making some plays. We've had some balls turned over, and they've gotten their hands. Crawley had a real nice pick yesterday. So I think the competition there with some of these young corners has been very encouraging.
Encouraging because this young talent is in addition to what's already there. Delvin Breaux has continued to hold the title as Saints' best corner. His play in camp has been nothing short of outstanding. Constantly lining up across from the Saints' best receiver, Breaux has won the majority of those battles.
It's much simpler than it's getting us to just go out there and play and just react. I look at last year, I thought I had an okay season. Some plays that I knew I could have made that didn't happen. But this year is like, I will make those plays. And I just have to continue to keep honing on my skills, and they're going to come.
The verdict's still out on Keenan Lewis's return to form, but just seeing him back out on the field on Wednesday was encouraging enough to think that West Bank will get back to his old self very soon.
As far as his health, he feels healthy and is really getting out there and working the mechanics, the technique. It's been a while since he's actually been on the field, so but he knows what's going on, and it's now just getting the pivots, the turns, his pedal, the technique, all the nuances of getting back on the field.
If you're looking from behind the defense, the first thing you notice is a pairing that's taken 3 training camps to get together. And it's not Kenny Vaccaro's fault for that. The past 2 seasons, Jarris Bird's been a no-show for the start of camp. But he's out there now, and it's as if the Vaccaro-Bird tandem hasn't missed a beat.
I'm definitely excited. I just enjoy it. I enjoy watching just other players, just whether it be around the league, but especially Kenny. I think he's an exciting player because he gets everybody else going with the way he plays. His skill set is unique in what he can do, and I appreciate it, and I love playing with him.
I just want to get on tape with him, man. I want to play with Jarris. we all know what he can do when he's healthy, and I'm excited to see him healthy.
Those two guys both communicate and understand the defense, and it's been a quick transition. And nonetheless, even when Jarris wasn't getting reps in the spring, you would see him behind the defense or mirroring, trying to mentally get the same reps. But he's an experienced pro.
Meanwhile, lurking in the wings are some guys that could pick up the pieces at safety should Vaccaro or Bird struggle. We'll start with the youth, rookie Von Bell and CFL veteran Eric Harris, who's trying to make his first NFL roster. Both have shined in camp at the position. And then there's veteran Roman Harper, who after playing his last 2 seasons in Carolina, never envisioned himself being back in black and gold. But things have a funny way of working themselves out.
As for right now, take it day by day. It's always a two-way street when it comes to, it's not just me wanting to be somewhere. That team has to want me as well.
And make no mistake about Harper's role here. It's not to see if he has anything left in the tank. It's to lead by example, showing his young secondary teammates what it takes to play and win in the NFL.
There's a calmness with Roman and an understanding, wisdom, if you would, of what it takes to win. I said this earlier, if you really backtracked and just began to count up 13, he's a postseason player, 14, 15, 11, 10. I mean, he's had an amazing career in regards to postseason football, and so he's got that wisdom and understands the traits of winning teams. And so when we sign a player like that, it's still, hey, there's an old saying, we don't have to see it every day, but we still need to see it, and he's shown it.
That saying could go for every player in the Saints secondary. We just need to see it. And with the talent that Peyton and Allen have assembled this season, along with what we've seen thus far, chances are the best is yet to come.
They've certainly put in the work drafting impact players in the secondary, but it's time to see them finally put it together. Besides 2014 selection Stanley Jean-Baptiste, the rest are still on the team. Kenny Vaccaro's proven his ability, especially stopping the run, but the verdict is still out on Damian Swann. He showed promise last year, but returning from 3 concussions won't be easy. P.J. Williams also has something to prove after missing 2015 completely, while Von Bell is hungry to prove everyone who didn't draft him earlier wrong. For more, let's head back to Juan Kincaid at the Greenbrier.
Joined now by Mike Triplett from ESPN.com. And Mike, we've seen 7 of 14 practices here at the Greenbrier. It's the halfway point. What surprised you so far?
I don't know if it's a big surprise, but the defense is probably playing better than I thought. They keep having these competitive drills at the end of practice, and they end with the defense cheering almost every day, it seems. Drew Brees has been picked 3 times, twice by rookies. It's not a lot for 7 days, but I don't think he'd thrown a single one at this point at camp last year. Look, this is every training camp I've ever covered. The defense wins sometimes, the offense wins sometimes, but they're a huge question mark. They were the worst defense in the NFL, one of the worst defenses in NFL history last year. So hearing the optimism and excitement, which seems pretty genuine from them, that they're at least off on the right foot.
A couple days ago, Sean Payton was asked, how long does it take to realize that your defense has gotten better? He harkened back to 2006 when they brought a couple guys off the street in Seminole and Shanley before he knew, and that was in week 1 of the regular season. Yeah. But I would have believed that with Dennis Allen and the organization he's put in with his defensive side of the ball, that Peyton's got to be seeing some things right now, particularly from younger players.
I think they're off to a fast start. And the key, look, it's one of the biggest cliches in football. Simplify the defense and that'll fix everything. But that really is a focus this year, and there's a reason that's a cliche. One thing they're doing is they're shortening the play calls and shrinking the playbook a little bit. The stuff they're installing here is the same stuff they installed in the summer. That's a big change from Rob Ryan. But Dennis Allen's philosophy is if you're not thinking, you're playing fast, you're attacking, you're aggressive. And that's definitely his mantra is attack and play aggressive. And if they do make mistakes, they're at least making them at high speed.
I'm thinking of guys like Bell, Rankins, Pruitt, Bro. What they all have in common, they haven't been in the NFL more than 2 years. This is going to be the season, more than anything I can think of in Sean Payton's time here, where they're going to have to lean on some guys with very little playing experience, very little NFL experience on that defensive side of the ball to be successful.
Yeah, and maybe that's a big reason why they're doing it. You know, they don't want these guys without the game experience thinking too much. They just want them using their natural speed and athleticism. Tyler Davison, another second-year guy, having a great camp so far that falls into that category.
So Drew Brees on the other side of the ball, you mentioned he's been picked off 3 times, but all in all, and everyone wondered about, will the contract situation be a distraction?
Yeah.
I don't think it has been, but he's played pretty well despite those 3 picks.
Yeah, I barely even watched Drew Brees in practice. It's like we're trying to find out about 52 or 89 guys. We know about that one.
Harder decision for this football team, though, and for Sean Payton and his staff when it comes to making cuts. Based on what you've seen here now, wide receiver or defensive back, there's a lot of players going for those small number of spots.
They're probably competing against each other. That's how the roster works, 4 receivers will make this team. Sometimes 5, sometimes 6, 4 cornerbacks will make this team, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. So they're actually competing against each other. You got to have a special teams role. You got to do something special. Once you're not one of those top 4, and we can name who the top 3 or 4 are at each position, but Sean Payton did say the other day, young cornerbacks are going to make this team. He said, you just look at the roster makeup, all their veterans got hurt this offseason, the veteran backups, and he said they've been making plays. So you get like a Ken Crawley, who we didn't know much about, or a Devontae Harris we didn't know much about. Those guys have the opportunity, and if they keep making plays like they are in practice, that could be your surprise undrafted rookie, the position where they come from this year.
How much the decision on Kobe Fleener and how they're going to play him? He's almost a bit of a hybrid.
Yeah.
Receiver/tight end. Does that affect what they do at wide receiver as far as keeping players?
Probably not necessarily, but like I said, look, here's 3 guys who are going to make this team. Brandon Cooks, Willie Snead, and Michael Thomas. Yes. And that's 3. The 4th receiver has always been that guy who can block on those run plays. It was Robert Meacham. It was Devery Henderson. It was Joe Morgan for a little while. I don't know who that guy is yet. Yeah. It should be Brandon Coleman. He's got the size. He hasn't been great at that. It could be Hakeem Nicks. He's a veteran. He knows that's how he's going to have to make this team.
Impressed here so far.
Could even be somebody who's not on the roster right now. If you want to be like an R.J. Harris and make your mark, it's got to be somebody who can be that blocking receiver. I don't know who that is. That's a path to a roster right there.
Some guys that you've really kept your eyes on here, and one guy that, look, we've all said if he can stay healthy, he can be a beast on defense, Dannell Ellaby.
Yeah, look, if I'm given a camp MVP or a camp most improved award, he's right there near Andrews Pete. And I shouldn't say most improved for Dannell Ellaby. We just haven't seen it much from him because he's been injured for 2 years now. But when he is out there, and Sean Payton said this too, he said, our defense is faster when he's on the field. And there's no question. We were talking to him the other day. Their linebackers were so lousy in pass coverage last year. It was one of the sort of hidden reasons why their pass defense was so bad. He's good at that, and he was like smiling and talking about my first true love was strong safety, and he like plays that way at linebacker.
Give me your surprise keep on the roster.
Well, I know you want me to say Tommy Lee Lewis.
It's the obvious
because he's
pick.
Yours. But look, if we would have done this interview any other day, but we just saw him light up the practice field today, and then afterwards Sean Payton compared him to David Patton. So I mentioned Ken Crawley, I mentioned Devontae Harris. It's these guys that are at the back end of the roster, but you've got to do more. You've got to do special teams, so maybe Tommy Lee Lewis is the answer.
Okay, Mike Triplett from ESPN, thank you very much.
Happy to do it.
Still to come on Game Plan, the Saints entered the offseason knowing they had to get an instant impact from their rookies. So far, so good. Sean Fazan takes a look at the promising signs from the trio of Sheldon Rankins, Michael Thomas, and Von Bell.
You're watching Game Plan Training Camp.
Whether it was bad scouting or complacency with the roster, there's no dancing around the fact that the Saints' 2014 draft set them back. Only one player, Brandon Cooks, is still on the team. But with the 2015 class showing a lot of promise and this year's group from 2016 already making their presence felt positively in camp, maybe the team's turnaround is indeed just around the corner. Sean Fazan takes a deeper look at the impact so far.
Plug and play. It's a term thrown around a lot in the NFL when the draft rolls around. By definition, it's a draft pick a team can plug into their system, and that pick will play right away. Every team hopes for it. The Saints appear to have it, with 3 draft choices that fit the bill. Beginning with first-round pick Sheldon Rankins, who's gotten several reps with the ones at defensive tackle and has shown an ability to win one-on-one battles in the trenches.
And just going out there and being physical. I feel like I've shown that so far. I feel like I've been physical, stout, been able to show some burst, some pass rush ability. So I'm just going out there and continue to put my best foot forward, just being physical, and continuing to build with the team.
Second-round pick Michael Thomas hasn't just flashed. He's been the star of camp thus far with amazing catches and even some tough ones in traffic.
Keep building on that. Don't let it go to my head. Use that
now that's what they're probably going to expect from me. So when the ball's in the air, I'm probably going to get another opportunity to make that play. So be ready when it presents itself and help this team. You know, it's ups and downs. Coach talks about, you know, sometimes the defense might make a play, the offense might make a play, but it's a, you know, momentum game. So if I could start that fire, I'd like to be that person.
Then there's Thomas's college and now professional teammate Von Bell, who has shown a knack for being around the ball, like on Wednesday when he picked off Garrett Grayson, or on opening day when he robbed Drew Brees of a big-time connection.
I'm reading Drew, middle of the field. Like, I seen the post. I seen B. Cooks out there on one. And I seen Bro out there, too. So I seen him give him a little stutter, and I seen Drew go. Every time my coach says it, when a quarterback just looks that way, just react and go. Trust your instincts. So I seen him release it. I knew I was going to high point over all of them. So I was going to dunk on him, as I call it, and I just made the play.
But while all three, Rankins, Thomas, and Bell, have shown their skills early, it's important to remember that it's still that, early. And as good as they've been, they've also only competed against their own teammates. The true tests will come later. So for now, their focus remains pretty clear.
Just going out there every day, trying to get better.
Keep getting better every day and competing.
Keep on pushing forward every day, and we'll keep on getting better.
Rankins, Thomas, and Bell aren't the only Saints draft picks to make plays early. 7th-round running back Daniel Lasco has made plenty as well and could very easily make his way onto this roster. With the Saints at the Greenbrier, I'm Sean Fazand for Fox 8 Sports.
Coming up, Michael Maudie delivered the highlight of 2015.
What a great job, shades of Steve Gleason.
But his encore will require a greater role on defense and more steady play on special teams. We profile his fight for a roster spot. And still to come,
It doesn't have to be real, right?
you won't want to miss the bloopers we've accumulated from camp.
You're watching Game Plan Training Camp.
Even in a 7-9 Saints season that as a whole is on the forgettable side, there are the plays that will transcend their record. Michael Maudie will forever have a magical moment in the Dome, but how much longer will he have a spot on the black and gold roster? Garland Gillen explains.
Marcus Murphy awaits it at the Saints 40, and the Saints pour through and block it. It's blocked, and into the end zone with it is the Saints.
Michael Maudie's block, punt, and recovery not only ignited a Saints 31-21 victory over the Falcons, it gave the Mandeville native a signature moment with the black and gold. This summer, the Houdat Nation let Maudie know it's still a major and magical moment in the 2015 season.
It didn't register until the offseason, where I just got some time away from the facility and kind of let it all kind of sink in a little bit, you know, being back home and doing that, you know, having that play and that moment kind of thing. And so, yeah, of course. I mean, there was a lot of people back home talking about it and stuff, and it's exciting.
Maudie's block against the Falcons was no doubt the top play of his young career, but he's ready to make more highlights in the future.
I'm ready to move. I want to do more of those things this year, and that's kind of what my focus has been. And you know, how can we make, you know, that was last year. You know, let's turn the page now and let's do it again.
Maudie's father, Rich, played for the Saints in the late 70s and early 80s, so Michael has black and gold in his blood. He wants to continue playing for his childhood favorite team, even though the linebacking group expanded this offseason.
For me personally, just about you know, just making sure I'm detailed on my assignments and making plays. I mean, you know, last year we got thrown. You know, I was kind of here week one and kind of just trying to, wherever they needed me, kind of filling in. But now that I have, you know, kind of my feet settled a little bit in the different spots and just trying to, you know, get as good as I can get in my position and backup roles or whatever it is, and play some linebacker, play some special teams, whatever they need me to do. That's what I'm here to do.
In West Virginia, Garland Gillen, Fox 8 Sports.
Coming up, some players shy away from the camera, others embrace it. Don't miss the funniest moments from West Virginia.
You know, my mom liked it, so, you know, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
You're watching Game Plan Training Camp.
NFL training camp means long days for the players, long days for the reporters covering practice. Sometimes the exchanges afterward and Q&A sessions can be confusing, comedic, or just plain crazy. Here's a sample of the stuff that doesn't always make it on TV.
All right, I'll ask the questions.
You guys need help with this? You want me to hold two of them?
So, how long have you been with your
With the city of
media.
Omaha?
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
But I ain't felt 100% probably since Little League, but
Well, you gotta understand, like, it was real deal two-a-days back then. You know, I had to look at my signing bonus check and just like, am I really gonna give this up, you know?
So Willie, what's up? You going a little blonde look? Or?
Yeah, you know, it's just a new year. Decided to go with the new look.
What do I think of Willie? What kind of question is that?
She didn't mess it up. I think she misinterpreted what I wanted.
He said a bunch of guys have been ripping him about it.
As long as he's at his best. Look, we may all dye our hair blonde when it's all said and done.
You know, my mom liked it, so, you know, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
oh yeah, I'm only 28 and I ain't that old. I ain't that old, yeah.
Are you guys two-gapping as much as you did under with that?
I plead the fifth.
Would it be fair to say?
I plead the fifth.
Would it be
Not
fair
the fourth,
to
but the
say
fifth.
maybe there's more attacking?
I've been with Joe Vitt since April. I've heard more stories than I've ever heard.
You get in that meeting room, man. Y'all don't be in the meeting room. Get in the meeting room.
What's something funny you started when you John
Those stay in the room, man. Stay in the room.
You know, hopefully I don't get too many more questions about it because it is what it is.
I was texting Coach Payton.
He wouldn't stop texting me.
He probably got a text from me once a week.
Anyway.
You know how on text message you can see the little R and say red? She read it.
Up next for our in-depth coverage, the preseason opener on Thursday the 11th from New England. We've got you covered as the Saints and Patriots take the playing field for the first time. All 4 preseason games can be seen exclusively right here. Until then, thanks to our crew in West Virginia and Mike Triplett. I'm Chris Hagan. Have a great night.
This has been Game Plan Training Camp